First time anybody has done this, and this isn't just my opinion. This is something that we've been working on for a long period of time, and I'm quite certain that we'll continue to refine as we come to know and understand more about what's happening with the essential oils. Think back to some of the research you were exposed to this morning, and you can begin to see how all of these things interplay to a common end, which is how do we use the essential oils for the greatest benefit for ourselves. So I've divided this into two categories. Aromatic, we're just going to accept that that's a good model for everybody. When we look at internal, I have both adult and I have child levels that we can use. And I have an ideal amount and I have a 24-hour max. For an adult, an ideal amount in terms of how much we'll use at any one single time is 2 to 4 drops. And when we look at this from a maximum amount throughout the day, it's from 12 to 24. Now I say 12 to 24 because I want a minimum and I think we should look at a maximum. So 12, obviously, if you're confused, would be the minimum, and 24 would be the maximum, right? So let's look at why I would say something like this. Why would I suggest that? Well, a few different reasons. First off is that we know that the essential oils, none of us have any question at this point, that they're valuable and that they do offer some of the support that we refer to quite often. But what if we do that in one large singular dose? If we were to look at it, we're very precise in this with all of our essential oils. 1,000 milligrams is the equivalent of 22 to 24 drops of essential oils. In one single dose, that would mean, or one single usage amount, that would mean that what I'm going to do is far exceed that optimal range of the essential oils. And in fact, I might come very, very close to my metabolic capacity, depending on my individual circumstance. The real disappointment here is that, remember, there's this inverse relationship when we're above the line, that even though I have a lot of essential oil now that is in my system, the amount of benefit that I'm receiving is greatly reduced, if not subdued completely. Many times I have people come to me and saying, I don't know what else to do. I'm doing all of these different things. And my mind goes to, we're doing way too much of those things. So one large dose at any single time is not the way to go with essential oils. Not if we're looking to maximize the efficiency and the availability of the essential oil to provide the support we're looking for. Even if we cut the dose in half and we do 24, instead of 24, we do 12 drops, 500 milligrams of the essential oil. You can see that again we start well above the line, and although we come into what we would consider to be the range that we're looking for, we quickly go back out as we take the secondary dose. Remember, everything has to be metabolized within the body. Here's what it looks like if we follow that recommended dosage model. Now, we have 2 to 4 drops every 4 to 6 hours, and for 99% of us, I would say that will keep us very well within that effective range that we're all looking for. Think about your own model of use when you're using the essential oils, and how often have you been confused or you've been frustrated because you're using so much of the oil but you're not feeling the benefits that you're looking for. This is some of the reason and some of the explanation why. Let's look quickly, very, very quickly, at dermal application. Now, topical application has its own benefits associated with it. One of the things we identified earlier is we said that we get this good localized tissue response. And that makes good sense because we can identify easily what our target is, where it is that we want to apply the essential oil and why we want to apply the essential oil. That's a good model of use because the dermal layers themselves are richly lipophilic. It's not the only thing that exists within the dermal layers. There's hydrophilic models within those layers too. But because of the lipophilic nature, it means that the essential oils are able to absorb quickly. There's a difference between absorption of an essential oil and penetration of an essential oil. Absorption, think of it this way. It's the oil going into the skin. And penetration is how the essential oil moves through the skin. Now, we can influence absorption with topical application, and that's one of the greatest advantages we have with topical application. I know that there's a lot of debate on should essential oils be diluted or should essential oils be used neat or should you do both? One of the things that we've been consumed with at doTERRA is looking at some of our essential oils which we know to be more caustic than others. Typically, these are the spice oils, oils that have a lot of phenol or phenolic content. Oregano, clove, thyme, cinnamon, cassia. These are some of the oils that fit into that. We have done a model of testing that I think you'll be very interested in. One of the things that is unusual about chemistry is that when you isolate chemistry, a lot of times we can have greater reactivity. And one of the areas where we see a greater response is not necessarily in the benefit that we're looking for, but in the unwanted characteristic of that chemistry. So for example, if we isolate a phenol, we may indeed have very high amounts of sensitivity that would occur. This means that even when we look at some of our more caustic essential oils, some of the more aggressive essential oils with phenolic compounds, they may not be irritating to the skin. So I want to introduce somebody to you. I want to introduce Nicole Stevens. Now, Nicole Stevens is one of my favorite people. I have a huge amount of respect for Nicole. I've known her for many years because she's been heavily